Hi everyone, I'm Johnny, and today we're taking a look at Band of Brothers Episode 6 titled Bastogne. This episode is important, as I think even more than D-Day, the Siege of Bastogne is the 101st Airborne Division's greatest triumph under the harshest of conditions. So let's discuss why.
To the German commander. Nuts!
This word, nuts, basically meaning go to hell, was the genuine reply from General McAuliffe to the Germans requesting the surrender of the 101st Airborne at Bastogne on December 22, 1944. The 101st Airborne were facing terrible odds, encircled by German forces at Bastogne, but they were airborne, paratroopers. They were trained to be encircled. The Siege of Bastogne was part of the German Ardennes Offensive, which began December 16, 1944, and lasted just over a month. It was the German army's last-ditch attempt to split the Allied forces and disrupt their logistics by taking the Belgian port of Antwerp, where they would further ideally capture Allied supplies and fuel. The plan failed, but it did catch the Allies completely off guard. The Ardennes Offensive is often referred to as the Battle of the Bulge, based on the shape of the front lines, with the map making its round in American newspapers. For the offensive, the Germans mustered over 410,000 men, 1,400 armored vehicles, and 1,000 combat aircraft. But the Ardennes Forest favored the Allied defenders in many ways, slowing the advance and creating congestion. The 101st greatly disrupted the advance by holding Bastogne and the surrounding forest, which linked up 7 roads and 2 railways. The wooded, snowy terrain around Bastogne made for challenging fighting conditions. Both sides would get lost and stumble into enemy positions. The trees aided in concealment, but were disorienting. The trees helped block tanks from advancing, but they also exploded when hit with German artillery, which would rain shrapnel and chunks of wood down on the defenders. Defending the area, the 101st were aided by fragmented elements of other divisions, including the 9th and 10th Armored Divisions. In total, they had about 22,800 men, defending against 54,000 German forces, with heavy artillery and tanks. The Allies would suffer over 3,000 casualties over 6 days defending the area. The defenders lacked food, ammunition, and most critically winter clothing with sub-zero temperatures setting in and fresh snow on the ground. The cold is underscored at every opportunity during the episode and is frequently talked about by veterans as often more memorable than the fighting. Frostbite was common. Winters breaking up the ice to shave is such a brilliant scene that captures both the cold and his disciplined character. The episode is unique to the others, as it closely follows medic Eugene Rowe. Medics during Bastogne were kept extremely busy and had to make do with few supplies. At the start of the siege, German troops overran the division's service area and medical company just west of Bastogne, and the 101st lost access to the majority of medical staff and supplies. For a significant part of the episode, you'll follow Doc Rowe simply doing his best to scrounge supplies and check on the health of the frozen men. Amazingly, medics were paid less during World War II, as they were considered non-combatants during the war. Aiding Doc Rowe, some supplies and volunteers came from the town of Bastogne, including Belgian nurse Renée Lemaire, who gave her life during the siege, aiding soldiers during an air raid. During the battle, the Allies were unable to utilize fully their air power. Fog restricted supply drops. However, on December 23rd, a supply drop was made, but it lacked winter clothing. But it wasn't just the Allies taking advantage of breaks in the weather during the battle. The Luftwaffe managed to bomb Bastogne, at one point hitting an aid station, killing 21. Bastogne had a civilian population of about 4,000 before the battle. To touch on one scene people often ask about, cooking in a helmet as shown here, this was done, but not overly common. One, it could weaken the steel of the helmet. For another, who wants lead paint mixed in with their coffee? I guess if you are facing death, you might not care so much. Another interesting thing to see in the episode is the significant use of plasma. The British and Americans had the most advanced plasma technology of the war. They could freeze dry it to be mixed with distilled water before administering it in the field. This meant blood plasma could more easily make it to the frontline medics, like Doc Rowe. Alright, I'm Johnny. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at episode 6 with me. I think it's one of the most defining episodes for the 101st. Certainly one of the more depressing episodes that might leave you a little cold. Anyway, take care, stay warm, and we will see you next time.